Oh, hi! This week I'm going to show you guys how to turn a skirt with a zipper into a skirt with an elastic waistband. Now obviously the skirt didn't come just with a giant zipper hanging off of it. This was a whole dress, but altogether the whole thing was too short. Surprise, surprise. But I really like the skirt part. So let's fix this motherfucker up, shall we? Here's what you need. This skirt is stretchy, so that's why I'm putting an elastic waistband. This technique could technically work if you have a skirt that's like bigger than your actual waistline, if it's a non-stretchy material, and you have an elastic you can kind of like ruche it up and that should fit. Otherwise, if it's a really fitted skirt and there's no extra fabric, you're probably gonna need to keep the zipper. For this, we're ripping the whole fucking thing out of there, so you're gonna need a seam ripper to start with. We're also gonna need some kind of elastic. I really like the thicker bands. This is like 2 inches wide, not the like crazy wide ones because you can't breathe with those on. Whatever your preference is, this would work with something smaller. Also need scissors, pins, stitching thread, and a sewing machine. I have to come up with some clever acronym for those last 4 things because those are almost in every sewing project I do. So then I'm going to use it, and then only like half of you are going to get it. Even though you'll be the cool half of people watching it, I'll still feel a little bad being like, you need the gerperturk. And everyone's like, what did you just say? Are you having a stroke? I already seam ripped this away from the rest of the dress. It's going to be a matter of just taking out the stitches that are attaching the zipper. So as you can see, they serged the edge here. It's not always going to be serged. Sometimes it's just going to be a raw edge. I'm going to make this a raw edge just by unpicking the stitches over here. Once all the stitches have fully been unpicked, I go ahead and line up the edges right side to right side. For anybody that has been wondering, I do put my pins in sideways when I can, because when you're running this through the machine, you don't necessarily have to be pulling the pins out as you're going, because when you put them in the long way, it just is right in the way of where you're trying to sew. I'm going to use my serger for this just because the rest of the edge is serged, and I'm going to be kind of like easing the seam into the one that's already existing on the back here. You could do either a zigzag or a straight stitch on a regular machine if that is what you are using. Yay, so now there's a completely fixed fucking top of the skirt. Shit. Yeah. Now it's time to add the elastic. I just put this around my waist to measure it and then took off a couple inches. When I attach thick elastic right sides together like this, I like to fold the stitches down to one side and then top stitch it down just so it's not like sticking up and poking you in the back. My elastic and the skirt both have the same stretchiness. Oh boy. We're the same width, so I really didn't have to finagle with the pins too bad, but the trick I use is I will fold the elastic and the skirt in half and pin the center points to each one, and then find the midpoints of both of those, put pins in each spot, and then just keep having everything, and so it keeps it real even. Right sides together, and I'm going to be flipping this up after, but I will show you that when we get to it. Either do a zigzag stitch or serge all the way around the edge. Regardless of how much pinning you had to do to get the elastic to attach to the fabric, stretch it a little bit. Also, good God, whatever machine you're stitching with, make sure your presser foot's down or you're gonna break needles and be the saddest. Oh man, that is looking rough. Well, at least my regular machine is working, so let's go over there to finish this shit off. I'm just gonna stitch along with black thread as close to this seam as possible. Try to keep it as even as possible, but you know. Alright, and there's my surprisingly straight top stitch. Definitely first time trying to do that, for sure. Now it's done! Let's try it on. So this is what the back looks like now. That's just a real high-waisted skirt with an elastic band. It goes well with a crop top. I've had 1 sip of beer and things are already off the rails. You guys, I did a terrible job stitching this, but everyone before the end card isn't even gonna know that it happened. This is just for you. This is our secret now. I'm taking the stitches out and I'm gonna redo it, but don't tell the rest of the internet, okay?